We come back from that silence of the rhythm of our heart into the rhythm of the music of our life, which is the rhythm of the music of love. The music of knowing that love is all and all is love. Love is in the silent listening. Love is in the silent awakening. And love is the presence. We empower, we embody, we experience. As we come back into the presence of our bodies, the presence of this room, and the presence of this now perfect moment. I invite you to join us for Sunday celebration service, which will start at 10 o'clock.
Power of now is always present, nowhere to be than where you are. The power of now flows oh so gracefully. The power of now is always perfect, nothing to be than who you are. The power of now flows oh so easily. Be willing to let go of everything you think you need to know. Oh, be strong enough to let go of everything you think you need to control. For everything goes away. Let everything wash away. The power of now.
Have you ever felt like there's a unique spark within you just waiting to shine? You're not alone. At the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe that everyone has the potential to transform their lives with practical spirituality. Picture this: a supportive community where everyone is striving for a deeper spiritual connection. Imagine workshops that inspire, classes that enlighten, and a welcoming community that affirms who you truly are. We like to think of ourselves as your spiritual gym. Just like physical wellness requires practice and dedication, so does spiritual wellness. Our empowering principles are designed for daily use, helping you make meaningful changes in your life. It's all about changing your mind to change your life. Sounds simple, right? Whether you're looking to unlock your potential, find clarity, or simply connect with like-minded individuals, the Center for Spiritual Living, Beaumont, is the place to be. We're open and affirming to all because we believe that everyone deserves a chance to shine. So, are you ready to step into a more empowered version of yourself? Join us at the Center for Spiritual Living, Beaumont.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. Welcome to those online and to those in person. First-time guests, welcome. Please pick up a blue welcome packet in the back. After service, we have fellowship and a meal in Carter Hall, so please consider staying after service. Please take a moment to turn off your cell phones or put them on silent. Can somebody grab my purse? Because I think mine's on. We could just throw it in the other room. It's right there. I'm not joking. I joke a lot, but this time I'm not. I'm serious. Yeah, just, if it goes off, it'll be fine. It'll just be fine. All righty. Thank you so much. Let's read our vision statement together. CSLB is an inclusive and transformative community of spiritual practice. Now for our opening song.
And if you want, you get up and move to the song, even if you don't know it.
All right. When you're in a funk and feeling blue,
Did this video, and he said we could use it today, so kind of a get up and move to it video. You don't have to know the lyrics.
Goes like this.
Just move.
It ain't no pious platitude or a bogus bunch of ballyhoo. But you shall be renewed in the attitude of gratitude. Every little thanks that your dear heart gives come rolling back around to the place you live. Smiles getting wider like you knew they would. Getting and a giving. There is verisimilitude of extraordinary magnitude, rectitude and fortitude in the attitude of gratitude. Together we must all collude with confidence and certitude. Buddha chicks and Buddha dudes in the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude. Gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude. The attitude of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude.
Like, oh, stranger.
All righty. Thank you for getting up and joining in with the opening song. We do have a couple of announcements for today. The Good Grief Support Group meets in the sanctuary every week on Thursdays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. There's information on the back table about this group, but if you're experiencing grief, please don't experience it alone. Joel Goldsmith book discussion. There's going to be a Joel, now you know I said that backwards, right? A Joel Goldsmith book discussion that continues on Thursdays from 12 p.m. There is a bit of information available, so please look for it. Are you interested in taking advanced consciousness studies? This 30-week class can be taken for personal growth or to begin with the journey to professional practitioner studies. Information is available in the back. Al Yankee and Friends will be live in concert September 15th after service from 12 to 1. More information about that is also available in the back. So, my name is Tommy Jones, and I am one of the licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Beaumont. The other practitioners and I will be available after service for a moment of prayer. Please do not leave here this morning with anything on your heart. We would love to pray with you because we know prayer works. So let's all close our eyes and let this meditative song bring us to our center.
Some days we forget to look around us. Some days we can't see the joy that surrounds us. So caught up inside ourselves, we take what we should give. So for tonight we pray for what we all can be. And this day we hope for what the stars see. It's up to us. And even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for. Look beyond ourselves. There's so much sorrow. It's way too late to say I'll cry tomorrow. Each of us must find our truth. We're so long overdue. So for tonight we pray for there's so much to be thankful for. Even with our differences, there is a place we're all connected. Each of us can find each other's So for tonight we pray for can be Even though this world needs so
Such a lovely song to kind of give me an opportunity to springboard off of. I get the privilege today of doing the Power Talk. That was introduced a couple weeks ago. And so today, my Power Talk is called AG. And as you get to know me, you'll know I love acronyms. I love mnemonics of using the letters to stand for something. So today, AG stands for Attitude of Gratitude. Now, I know I omitted a letter, but it doesn't work if I add that one. I don't know what an AOG is. So AG. But AG also stands for All's Good and All's God. So to talk to you about having an attitude of gratitude, there's a lot of people sitting in this room and online who are experiencing the life of their dreams. They have an attitude of gratitude because everything is going really well. And many of us know that gratitude is payment for the things we have now and for the things we shall receive. But there's also that person out here who's saying, Tommy, you don't know what I'm going through. How could you possibly expect me to be grateful in this time with what I'm going through? Well, let me share a little story. The last 3 years of my life have been so challenging because of some things that have been happening to me that it has been hard to even be a practitioner. There have been times when I couldn't connect with spirit. I couldn't find spirit because of the things in the outside that were going on, that were creating a challenge, that were rocking my faith. I had to rely on other people's faith for me to continue and to be able to survive. And I sat through all of these experiences thinking, this is never going to end. Maybe some of you can appreciate what I'm saying. To be able to find gratitude in the littlest of things is partly how I've been able to continue. To be able to wake up and go, I made it another day. I'm here another day. I'm not where I was yesterday, and I'm not where I'm going to be tomorrow. And still, though, not knowing how I'm going to get out of whatever I am in today. There is a lot of very intelligent work in the world. There's quotes, there's scripture. Well, there's one piece of scripture that has been very important to me ever since I was a little girl. It is the 23rd Psalm. And there is this one part of it that says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. Now, that's King James English, it's old school, and it may really not make a lot of sense, but let me put it into a little bit of different context. There is a guy who passes away, and he gets the opportunity to speak to spirit. And he says, you know, over the course of my life, I was able to see footprints in the sand. And there was always two sets of footprints, but at times there was one set. How could you have left me, Spirit, Lord God? The response was, actually, I walked side by side with you all through your life. But those single sets of footprints is when I carried you. Right now, if you're not experiencing the life you want to be experiencing, you're probably being carried. And that part where I said you walk through. We're not setting up a condominium. We'll get to the other side. You can get to the other side. Gratitude invites you to say, at least I'm not where I was. And I'm not going to continue to be there tomorrow. When I was asked to do this talk, I was able to tell Reverend Dr. Michael, I am beyond where I was. I am able to be a full-fledged practitioner again. I am able to be all those things that I thought was lost, and more is being given to me. I am a testament, as are each and every one of you, that being grateful, even for the littlest things, helps get you through some of those big things. But more importantly, when I look back at this past 3 years, and I'm telling you it was so horrific, some of the things that I went through helped me become such a better person, such a better human being, that I can really walk a talk that I didn't know that I needed to walk. And so when I tell you that today's Power Talk is about AG, having an attitude of gratitude, it is about all is good, all is God. And if you can leave here today with that in your mindset and in your consciousness, then all is well and getting better and better. And so ends this Power Talk. Thank you so much. So now what I'd like you to do is allow the seat or wherever you're at to support you. Lower your eyes if you feel so inclined, so that I can extend this spiritual moment. I invite you to know with me that Spirit is in this very room, that this is hallowed, sacred ground, that each and every one of us brings to this place the Spirit that is within us. And when we combine that Spirit, we are one. Declare with me that today there is an attitude of gratitude coming forth from within us, that we are grateful, that we understand and know that there are trials, there are tribulations, but we can get through them, that we do get through them, and that the cross we bear, as challenging as we think it is, there is someone else who would gladly bear that. And so that we know in our connectedness and our humanity that if within ourselves we say, thank you for what I have, that energy ripples to someone and someplace else where the need for gratitude exists. And when we all collectively are thankful and grateful, then we create a world that's working for us and it works for everyone else. And so in this moment, be silent, be grateful, be at peace, and know that Spirit is either walking beside us or carrying us. So grateful am I to be in the presence of all the beings of God. These words that I speak, I know are blessed, and so I am able to release them into law. Let them go forward and manifest as they will. And so I invite each and every one of you to anchor and affirm these words with me with a place filled with gratitude by saying, and so it is. Amen, amen, ashe, ashe. And so I'd like to now introduce Reverend Dr. Michael.
Thank you, Tommy. One of the things I have an attitude of gratitude about in ministry is hearing many voices. I think it's great to have guest speakers. I think it's great to have the voices of many practitioners sharing the message. There's one message, right? Science of Mind, there's one message. And that message is love. And each of us in our own way finds a way to express that love. I want to share an AG with Rev Bev, who's not here today, for these beautiful flowers behind us. And I want to thank Rainbow Alliance, who sponsored them last week, paid for the flowers. Not sure who sponsored them this week. It may be Rainbow Alliance. We are in the process of looking for sponsors so we can have flowers here every week. Because as nice as they look here, they look great on the live stream. They really fill in the space. Yes, boy, on the live stream, they just fill in that space. So one thing that we're starting here, an attitude of gratitude, and Rev Bev will buy the flowers. If you'll pay for the flowers, she'll put them together for us. And Rev Bev gave me this to help us with our attitude of gratitude flower program. It's a flower calendar. And we'll have this out in the hallway if you have a birthday, if you have an anniversary, if you won the lottery or you won $100 on a lottery ticket and you want to share those winnings with us, you can share by being part of our flower sponsorship program, so that we have flowers here every Sunday. So whatever way you can step up, if you're online, we would love to have you sponsor flowers. You can put it in, contribute online on our website. You'll find out how at the end of the service today. But anyone here who is inclined to share an attitude of gratitude by sponsoring a flower for your anniversary, just for spring or fall or winter, any season. I think the seasons of flowers and the seasons of love, I think they all kind of come together in that concept of our teaching of seed, soil, and plant. You know, the seeds we plant, the seeds that Spirit plants in our consciousness through the soil of our imagination becomes the fruition of our life, becomes the harvest of our life, becomes that attitude of gratitude, that attitude of all is good, that attitude of all is God in our life when we plant seeds. So we invite you to join our flower sponsorship program. We thank Rev Bev for her beautiful and creative work. That's all part of an attitude of gratitude. And yet when Tommy was sharing and took the O out, and made it AG, all I could think of was Attorney General of the United States, Attorney General of North Carolina, Attorney General of Arizona. And how much have we heard of attorney generals? And not always coming from an attitude of gratitude, but perhaps coming from an attitude of anger, and we're witnessing that in our life. So how can we be present with all that's going on, all of the legalese? How can we be present with all of the legalese, all of the jargon that we're hearing every day? And of course, it's up to us to turn off that TV, to turn off that iPhone, right? That's ours to do, to put that in a drawer. I'm working on that, to put down our iPhones and pick up the I am of the voice of Spirit that we are. It's time to put down our iPhones and pick up the I am of the voice of Spirit that I am. Our talk title today is Attitude of Gratitude. And for myself, this past week has been a week of challenges. This past week has been a week of doctors and IV drips and visiting Ross in the hospital. And it's been a week where we came present with, in physical form, most of our life is behind us. The majority of our life is behind us. We're in our 70s. And there's a good portion ahead. But it brought me to an attitude of gratitude, that it's not about the number of days we have left together, and one of us will most likely be left when the other one's moved on, but being present for an attitude of gratitude for the quality of life that we have, for the quality of love that we have. It was amazing this week. I found my strength. I found my strength in the belly of the beast. Jonah and the whale is a story of the belly and the beast, but it's also a story about an attitude of gratitude. Because Spirit asked Jonah to do something, and Jonah declined to go in the opposite direction. Spirit, that intuition, that inspiration said, go in this direction, and Jonah said, I don't want to go in that direction, Spirit. I'm going in my own direction. And guess what? Jonah ran into this really big whale. This really big whale, and that represents the conditions of this world, right? The legalese of this world. And he was swallowed by the whale. But in the belly of the beast, and I was in the belly of the beast this week at Eisenhower Hospital in the basement looking for the vending machines to get Ross a lemon lime soda. Can I get you? I want a lemon lime soda. I'll find my way to the cafeteria in the basement of the beast at Eisenhower. And as I descended into the basement of the beast at Eisenhower, traversing many different hallways that didn't seem to be really clearly marked to me, and finally found a sign that said cafeteria, and followed about 3 or 4 more hallways, I found my way to the vending machines. I was in an attitude of gratitude that in the middle of the belly of the beast, in this lostness of this basement, in the depths of this hospital, that I found my way to my destination. And there was a mother, and I assume her young son was about 4 or 5, and the vending machines only took credit cards, which is good because I don't carry cash. I never have change. I'm lucky if I have $2 in my wallet. I don't carry cash. And so I had to learn how to use the debit card and how to tap it. And you had to tap it first, then put in the item number 103 for the diet soda in the machine. And then you had to enter your PIN number. And you had to do it in the right series, in the right order, in order to get the outcome of life that you wanted and to end up in an attitude of gratitude instead of an attitude of grumbling and mumbling. And so this little kid said, I can help you. And I said, thank you, I really appreciate that, but I'm going to figure this out on my own, and if I need your help, ask, but thank you so much. And he was sitting there like all 4 years, like, you do it this way, boom, boom, boom. I mean, he could have gotten that soda out for me in 7 seconds, but I was like Jonah. I was not going in the direction of the 4-year-old kid who has far more knowledge about how to use those automated vending machines. I was going in my own direction. And like Jonah, I got a little lost and a little frustrated, but I want you to know I got a lemon lime soda, I got a Diet Coke, and I got a Milky Way bar. So I found my way to heaven, a little bit of heaven in the Milky Way, belly of the beast, and there was heaven right there in a Milky Way bar. That's Jonah and the beast. That's Jonah and the whale. He found himself in the belly of the beast of his own making, the belly of the beast of not following inspiration, the belly of the beast of not honoring his spiritual practice, the belly of the beast of not honoring this greater good, this greater heart, this greater love, this greater presence, which always guides and gifts and graces us. And so he found himself in the belly of the beast, as did I. And I found the Milky Way. I found that celestial constellation. Smiled at the kid. He smiled at me like, thumbs up. Good job, old guy. Good job, old guy. And I came to realize as I was walking back, trying not to eat that Milky Way because I was promising I was going to share it with Ross. And I got back to the room and Ross didn't want half of it. Yay, so I got the whole Milky Way. But I found something that I wasn't even looking for. And I didn't really find it, it found me. And I found in that moment at the vending machine and returning through the belly of the beast, I find my way out of the belly of the beast, out of the basement of Eisenhower, all the way up to the 4th level floor with the goods that I had gone for, with the treasure that I had been hunting. I had claimed that treasure was now mine. But the true treasure was the treasure of awareness that through this teaching, through this spiritual practice, through my ministerial studies, they brought me to a sense of certainty. They brought me to a sense of comfortability. They've brought me to a presence of consciousness that I know wherever I am, whatever challenge is in front of me, being at a vending machine or working on getting my husband home, and both were challenging this week, that I'm enough. Not only am I enough, and we talked about this in grief group this week. Grief group was about an attitude of gratitude. And how do we find the gratitude for being appreciative of ourselves in the middle of grief, in the midst of grief, in the muck and mire of grief? It's there. Tommy said, we're all going through stuff. Everyone here. The difference is some of us are going through it, and some of us are getting stuck in it. If you get stuck in the belly of the beast, you're never going to come out. But what I know Jonah discovered in the belly of that whale was who he was his true self, was his true energy, was his true presence, was a true attitude of gratitude, that yea, though I find myself in the valley of the belly of the beast, I shall not stop and build a condo there. I shall hold the presence of Spirit. I will know that Spirit will lift me up and lift me out into a higher awareness of consciousness. And boy, Jonah shot up through the spout of that whale, was released to a higher level of consciousness. He came to know himself better. He became less afraid of the whales and the beasts in his life, and he became more aware of the wonder of the world and the wonder of the world and the wonder of the love in his heart. I came to open the wonder of the window of my heart a little bit more this week. We talked about in grief group, how do we change the world, right? We don't. We change ourselves. Fourth day, I was going into Eisenhower, getting far too familiar with the security guard who said, "Do you know your way?" Yes, I need to know my way better than I'd ever like to know my way. I don't need your map. And I made the decision in that moment on Thursday morning that the next 10 people, be they patients, be they nurses, be they staff, be they management, be they security guards, or be they Michael, that the next 10 people I saw, they would smile in my presence. Between the first floor elevator and entering Ross's room, I got 10 smiles. I got 10 smiles. We're talking in grief groups, so what? So you were the conscious catalyst. You were the conscious catalyst of I am that I am, of the awareness of the power of the attitude of gratitude. In the midst of what Ross and I were going through, in the midst of uncertainty, I became absolutely certain that I was enough. I became absolutely certain that I was the I amness and the awareness and the oneness of that presence of love. And in that moment, I would simply smile. We talked about it in grief group. We made a commitment that everyone in grief group would get 10 smiles this week. They would get 10 smiles. They would deliberately smile and get 10 smiles in return, because that's how this teaching works. What we put out comes right back on us. And then we talked about what if? What if? I think what if is sometimes a better place to live than what is. With all that's going on in the world, can we sometimes change the what is of the world? The what is of the nightly news? The what is of our frights? Can we maybe change it into the what if? What if it was this way? What if in this attitude of gratitude, in this attitude of God, in this attitude of goodness, what if? What if in the midst of the belly of the beast of a hospital? What if in the midst of the belly of the beast of a whale? What if in the midst of the belly of the beast of our worries and our doubts and our lacks and our limitations? What if? What if we move from the what is of that to the what is, the what if of what could be? And in grief group, we talked about it in the middle of grief, in the middle of tears, in the middle of sorrow, in the middle of loss, we found the presence of love. And we came to say, what if? What if those 10 people that I smiled at, that smiled back? What if in the next 10 minutes, they each smiled at 10 people, and those 10 people smiled back? That would be 100 people that I had been part of their smiling. And what if those 100 people had smiled at 10 people in the next 10 minutes? That would be 1,000 people smiling for a moment. In the presence of whatever's going on in their life, they found a smile. And you know I like to say SMILE. I love acronyms. Science of mind is love expressing. Smile. Charlie Chaplin, smile and the world smiles with you, cry and you cry alone. Grief group, we cry together, so don't cry alone. Come to grief group, cry together, and find your smile. It was an extraordinary week. Who'd have thought from an automated vending machine and a 4-year-old kid in a Milky Way that I'd find my way to my own personal heaven? That Ross would find his way home. And that together we had come to an attitude of gratitude for appreciation of life, however much, however little lies ahead. We became present with this appreciation of love in our lives. That is a love unstoppable. In which anything is possible. That's what an attitude of gratitude is about. It's about a love unstoppable in which anything is possible. Poet Mary Oliver shares this, and she shares this from her inherent attitude of gratitude, not her outer attitude. Oh, my checkbook's good. Oh, I just lost 10 pounds and I wanted to lose 10 pounds. Yay. Not for outer appearances, not from outer conditions, but from the rendition of revelation of the inherent attitude of gratitude that lives within Mary Oliver, that she lets live within her, and then she lets it breathe without into this world through her poetry. And Mary Oliver put this so beautifully for me this week. Mary Oliver says, a lifetime isn't long enough for the beauty of this world. Ross and I had moments of presence where I was inside Mary Oliver's words. I was inside Mary Oliver's world. I was inside Mary Oliver's wonder at the presence of the beauty and the gifts and the awareness and the attitude of gratitude of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful life we live, even in the midst of things that we don't always understand or agree with. There's no power in agreement. There's no power in agreeing between the red and the blue and the black and the white and the orange and the yellow and the up and the down and the good and the bad and the rich and the poor, because it's always been there. It will always be there. What is ours to do is not to be down all the time, not to be poor all the time, to go through that cycle of love. Up cycles, down cycles, up cycles, but always an upward escalation to a higher awareness of an attitude of gratitude. Ross and I came to share Mary Oliver's sentiment about life this past week. We also came to share the sentiment about the beauty, the bounty, and the blessings of love, not only abundant in this world, but abundant in the world of our life. Today's talk title is An Attitude of Gratitude. It's an attitude of gratitude, of knowing when we open the window of wonder, of the love in our hearts, the window of wonder of the love in our hearts, when we open that window to the world, we touch the world. That 4-year-old kid touched me with his love. Grandpa, let me help you with that. He was loving. He was joyous. He wanted to share his knowledge and his knowing with me. He was all excited. And then he was excited when I figured it out on my own. Because I know there are times that he's struggling with something, and his mom says, figure it out on your own, and he does. And that self-empowerment when you figure it out on your own, right? Okay to reach out. Okay to reach out and touch somebody's hand, make it a better world, right? But he watched me, and he observed me, and he was smiling from his window of wonder of love inside. You know, when we see through the window of wonder of love in our hearts to the world without, we touch the world. We touch the world. We touch the world. When we open the window of wonder of love in our hearts, we touch the world. We touch the world with a tenderness and a timelessness of love that changes not only the amount of love in this world. I'll bet you I got 1,000 smiles at Eisenhower Thursday. I'll bet you that vibrated out, that ripple in the pond, that ripple of one smile. I'll bet you there were 1,000 smiles. And what if those 1,000 people smiled at 10 people on the way home? 10,000 smiles. Just saying. Just saying. That window of wonder of love in our heart, when we let it become the ripple of life in this world, it changes not only the amount of love in this world, one smile, but that love in the world as it expands touches us back. It touches us back. When we touch out with love, it changes the love in the world, and that changed love in the world reaches back and changes us. It changes us to the amount of love in our lives. The power of a smile. The power of a smile. And so our talk title is Attitude of Gratitude. Ross and I want to thank you very much for the beautiful prayers this week, for the beautiful texts and messages, but mostly for the beautiful way you touch our lives. And if you're reaching out with love to us, which expands our love in our lives, then it must be in some way we touch your lives and bring a little bit more love and a little bit more laughter and a little more life to your life. Because that's the way science of mind works. The law of reciprocity. If I smile out love, love smiles back. So in this concept of reaching out and touching the world, right? Tommy reached out and touched us with her power talk. right? Tech reaches out and touches us with their slides and their visuals and the video, the music cues I send them. And they get a little mixed up because I changed my mind, and they get 3 emails. Well, this is the opening song. No, now this is the opening. Now this. And Adrian goes, no, that's not the opening song. He goes, well, it is now. And so they made it all work. So the song that I wanted for opening song was there. It came from an attitude of gratitude that we're all here creating a service. We're all creating that presence of love. And so what movie, because you know I love movies, what movie perfectly exemplifies this theme of reach out and touch somebody's hand? Make it a better place if you can. Can you think of a movie? 2 fingers come together. Anybody? E.T.? E.T. E.T. And so Mary Oliver shares this. And E.T., there's the image of E.T. Remember the little boy touching the hand of the alien? We've all been in alien lands before. We've all been strangers. I was in the belly of the beast at Eisenhower, but there was a little boy there who said, you can do this, I'm watching you, you got it. You know, as Tommy said, when you don't see Spirit, Spirit's with you, Spirit's got it. Spirit's going to get that lemon lime soda for you one way or another. And then he's going to remind you with the Milky Way bud that everywhere you're in the constellation of God's presence. But the reaching out and touching of 2 fingers, our world and other worlds coming together in the shared love of a young boy's heart and E.T.'s heart. Mary Oliver writes to this so eloquently. Mary Oliver says this of 2 hands that touch. She says of 2 hands that touch in a way that the bonds of those 2 fingers, those 2 hands touching, the bonds of that connection will never be broken. That was E.T., right? That was the message of E.T. Truly, says Mary Oliver, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How can we live with the mystery of how grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs? What a wonderful mystery. How can we live with the mysteries, the marvelous mysteries of how rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with the laws of gravity? The laws of gravity. How can we live with the mysteries too marvelous of the need for ourselves to allow our own dream to rise? That marvelous mystery of our dream rising. And she says this, how can we live with the mysteries too marvelous of how 2 hands touch in a way that the bonds between those 2 people will never be broken? I invite you to take a moment in time, or a moment out of time, or a moment from time, or a magnificent moment of marvel, of marveling at someone whose hand you have touched, at someone whose hand has touched yours, that has changed your life forever. How many people, by a show of hands, can think of someone's hand they have touched, or someone's hand who has touched yours that has changed your life forever? Take a look around the room. Everyone's hand. Power of a smile, the power of touching somebody's hand. Not such a great mystery this science of mind thing is. Yvonne always says, so what's compassionate care? What's compassionate care? We're trying to figure it out. I think compassionate care is a phone call. I think compassionate care is a hug. I think compassionate care is touching somebody's hand, holding somebody's hand. And I think compassionate care is being the presence of love, even when you may be in the belly of the beast. Broadway star Elaine Stritch expressed an attitude of gratitude. How many people know Elaine Stritch? A few people. This is an age thing. This is an age thing. Broadway star Elaine Stritch expressed an attitude of gratitude for her life. And she expressed that attitude of gratitude when she was barreling down in addiction as she came to find her way up to the top of the barrel of auditions on Broadway, to adorations and accolades as she won Tony Awards and brought this attitude of gratitude that kept her moving through the belly of the beast into the wonder of the brightness of Broadway, the celestial stars of Broadway. I had my Milky Way, she had Broadway. It's all good, right? It's one celestial entity. And she found through her attitude of gratitude an altitude of higher awareness. A higher awareness of Broadway breakthroughs, a higher awareness of singing spotlight, front and center melodies of the memories of her life, a life that in retrospect was well lived. And the melody that she came to sing was I'm Still Here. Good times and bum times, I've seen them all in my dear. I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes just pretzels and beer, but I'm here. I've stuffed the dailies with my shoes, strummed ukuleles, sung the blues, seen all my dreams disappear, but I'm here. I've slept in shanties, guest of the WPA, danced in my scanties, $3 a night was the pay, but I'm here. I stood on bread lines with the best, watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, so I'm here. Elaine Strict asks, in the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. In the belly of the beast this week in Eisenhower, was I depressed? Nowhere near. In the belly of the beast of the whale, was Jonah depressed? Nowhere near. He pressed on with his faith. He pressed on with his beliefs. He pressed on with his attitude of gratitude, and he came to rise to a higher awareness of life and love and truth than he'd ever known before. And remember, and we've heard this before, and we'll hear it again, and we'll hear it until depression doesn't have such a hold on this world. That in the letters that spell the word depression are the same letters that spell I pressed on. And when we press on, and for me it was pressing on number 107 to get a lemon lime, and it wasn't coming out. But I kept pressing on, and I kept clicking my credit card, and that kid kept looking at me, and all of a sudden not only was a lemon lime, but there was a Diet Coke and there was a Milky Way bar. That science of mind is good unfolding to a greater good. When we come from an attitude of gratitude, our life becomes a conscious catalyst. Our life becomes a conscious catalyst. It becomes a conscious catalyst for a life well lived from the beauty, the bounty, and the blessings of love eternal. Elaine Strict was a conscious catalyst. She was a conscious catalyst for a life well lived. She was a conscious catalyst for the power of gratitude to transform her life. Elaine Strict's life was a powerful demonstration of the positive affirmation of Elaine Strict's life, and our life, and my life, and your life, and all life is a positive, powerful affirmation. That as I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. As I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. As I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. Is it a song? Is it Mary Oliver's poetry? What is the song and the rhythm and the beat of your heart? What is it? Where is it? What's it sound like? What's it feel like? What's it look like? Maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's a smile that goes on for miles and miles and miles. So I invite you to say with me, as I say it, let's say it together. As I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. And again, as I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. And one more time for good luck, third time's the charm. As I breathe in my possibility, I breathe out my creativity. And so it is. There's a story about a man and an attitude of gratitude and how it transformed his life into a higher altitude of awareness. A higher altitude of awareness that what is ours to do is to, at all times, in the belly of the beast, in the liberty and liberation of heaven's high watch, wherever we are, wherever we're present, what is ours to do is to breathe in all of the possibility of the universe and to breathe out all of Spirit's creativity in our life. Man is at a mall, feels chest pains and faint. He sits down. They call 911. He's rushed to St. Mary's Hospital. He wakes up the next morning, not knowing what's happened, feeling much better. A nun is sitting next to him saying, you went through bypass surgery last night. All is well. You're in good shape. We're glad you're here. And the man says, I've lived my life from an attitude of gratitude. It's always lifted me to a higher altitude of awareness that life is good all the time. God is good all the time. And the nun says, well, that's very good, and I'm happy for you. But an attitude of gratitude is not going to pay your $485,000 bill. And the gentleman says, just wait and see. Just wait and see. And so the nun goes, well, how are you going to pay the bill? How much money do you have? He said, I really don't have much money. I kind of live day by day. I have all my life. Well, how much do you have in savings? Oh, I don't have savings. I live day by day. How about your health insurance? I don't have health insurance. I've never had health insurance. How about your employer? Does your employer have health insurance? I didn't buy into my employer's health insurance plan. And the nun goes, but I live by an attitude of gratitude, and everything always works out. And the nun says, it's the gratitude, not going to pay the bill. Says, you got to pay this bill. So how are you going to pay the bill? And the nun says, you must have relatives. You must have relatives. Yes? He says, I only have one relative. It's my sister, my penniless sister, and she's a spinster. My penniless spinster sister. And so you can't get any money from her. And the nun goes, just gets irate, just gets red-faced angry, just explodes like a volcano on this gentleman. Nuns are not spinsters. We're married to God. Nuns are not penniless. We have all of the bounty of heaven at our disposal, to which the gentleman smiles an attitude of gratitude and says, send the bill to my brother-in-law. But in truth, we all have the bounty of heaven at our disposal. When we come from an attitude of gratitude, when we come from the knowing that a smile goes on for miles and miles and miles, when we know that we're in the belly of the beast, and if that's the belly of the beast of our religions, some people will fight for their religious beliefs. People will fight for the right to die for their religious beliefs. And Science of Mind is not about the right to fight or to die for anything. It's about the right-sightedness of seeing that we're here to live for everything. We're here to love every moment. We're here to live from the right-sightedness of the window of wonder of love in our hearts. In the mental gymnastics of Science of Mind, in the mental gymnastics of metaphysics, in the mental gymnastics of the power of prayer, in the mental gymnastics of Science of Mind's conscious knowing. Know beyond knowing. Know this with me. Know this with me. Wherever you are in this moment, know this with me. As I know it for you, as Spirit knows it for us. Know with me. Know beyond knowing. If the only prayer you ever said, if the only prayer you ever let pray you was thank you, your life would change. Look, prayer is a gift of simplicity. It's a gift of simplicity that takes us beyond the complexities of the conditions of this world. Prayer is a gift of simplicity that takes us beyond the complexities of this world. Ernest Holmes says, we make a riddle out of simplicity. Remember the Riddler on Batman on the TV show, The Riddler, riddle me a riddle? It's time for the riddlers to go. It is time for the riddlers to go. And it's time for the power of prayer, the power of possibility, the power of an attitude of gratitude to come home to roost. Katharine Hepburn's attitude of gratitude went on for miles and miles and miles. And she found her attitude of gratitude in a simple bar of soap. New York, 1990, she was being interviewed. They kept asking questions and posing situations, and she said, I kept thinking of my father. They said, wasn't your life complicated? And she said, I kept thinking of my father, a man whose sink had on it one big durable bar of soap, one bar of soap on his sink. And that bar of soap was used for cleaning, shaving, and brushing his teeth. It worked fine, it was fast, and it was economical. I think that's kind of spirit. It works fine, it's fast, and it's economical. He could then get on with his day. I think we clutter our minds, said Katharine Hepburn, and our lives in a way people would like to have my father clutter his toiletry counter. There's too much clutter in our lives. There's too much clutter in the world, and there's way too much clutter of thinking and of devising. I think you need to be true to your work, true to your friends. These should be small circles. People who have too many friends tend to have too few ideas, I find, and they cover up their disappointment with parties and chatter and movement and noise and television interviews. Focus on working well and being there for you, being there for your work, and being there for your friends. One bar of soap taught me a lot, said Katharine Hepburn. A few days before my mother died, I never knew this. We were talking about her childhood. She was 4, 5, 6 in the Depression, 28, 29, 30. Her mom had passed on. And she said one of her greatest joys was selling soap door to door. I said, what do you mean selling soap door to door? There was a company called the Larkin Soap Company. Does anyone remember the Larkin Soap Company? They were still in business. They were bought by Procter & Gamble in the 70s and vanished. They became part of P&G, but they were making soap into the 50s, and they would send out big crates of soap. And it was the family way. It was called the family way. You'd get a big crate of soap of 50 bars. You got a really good discount, and they were really good soap, kind of like Avon door to door. And then members of the family, kids, would go door to door selling soap to the neighbors in the Depression. And people needed soap, so they'd buy soap, 10 cents a bar, it cost a nickel, and they made some money for the household. And my mom said it was all over Philadelphia, all over Pennsylvania. Larkin Soap. The kids raised money. So one good bar of soap for my mom, and she talked about the Larkin Soap Company. So that an attitude of gratitude that she shared about her good bar of soap and how it brought good fortune to their family. You know, our attitude of gratitude takes our intentions out of detention, and it takes our intentions out of detention by co-creation. Co-creation is the power of the teaching of science of mind. If you look at the teaching symbol, the top is spirit plants the seeds of co-creation. In spirit's mind as one with our mind, that then filters down into the soil of our imagination, of our soil, which then manifests as the plants and the harvests of our life. Co-creation. Co-creating a smile that co-created another smile, and another smile, and another smile. Maya Angelou asked the question, why does the cage bird sing? And she came to the answer that the cage bird sings because the song that the cage bird sings is the song in its soul, that it sings to the melody of its heart. And so even if you're put in a cage of discrimination, even if you're put in a cage of poverty, even if you're put in a cage of lack of education, even if you're put in a cage of being a social outcast, you can still sing that song of love in your soul through the rhythm of the beat of your heart. Maya Angelou wrote a book, Why Does the Cage Bird Sing? Many of you know the story. As a young child, she was raped. And she would not tell who had done it. And her family said, you must tell, you must tell. And after 3 days, she finally spoke the word of the gentleman who had raped her. And it was a relative. Her family, vigilante justice, went out, found that man, and beat him to death in an alley that night. Maya Angelou found out about this. She felt guilty for his death, and she stopped speaking for almost 10 years. No communication with the world, totally shut down. But in her world of silence, she found the song in her heart. She found the window of love in her life, and she opened that window wide. And if we can get ready in a minute here for the video clip, and she opened that window wide to the world through the music of wonder of her poetry and prose. And if we can play that video clip, My Angelo fills
Everyone
the
in the
infinite between
world has
souls.
gone to bed one night or another with fear or pain or loss or disappointment. And yet each of us has awakened, arisen, somehow made our ablution, seen other human beings, and said, "Morning, how are you? Fine, thanks, and you?" It's amazing. Wherever that abides in the human being, there is the nobleness of the human spirit, despite it all. Black and white, Asian, Spanish, Native American, pretty, plain, thin, fat, vowed or celibate, we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just 'cause I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just 'cause I laugh. As if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh, does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, naturally, there I go rising.
Let's give Adrian and Chuck a hand. The tech has been just flawless today. Hard work, video clips and audio clips, so thank you guys. Really thank you. So I found in the belly of the beast of Eisenhower Hospital how to get a lemon lime soda. That was my attitude of gratitude in which I came to rise. Jonah in the whale came to an attitude of gratitude at the presence of the power of Spirit's love in his life, and he came to rise. Maya Angelou, through a very challenging past history, was willing to let go of her history and willing to enter that marvelous mystery that Mary Oliver talks about of the beauty and the wonder and the glory of life. Maya Angelou, Attitude of Gratitude, was her poem, and still I rise. Marcus Aurelius says this: the soul becomes dyed with the color of our thoughts. Walt Whitman says, whatever satisfies the soul is truth. And it said, when you touch the celestial in your heart, you will realize that the beauty of your soul is so pure and so vast and so devastating that you have no option but to merge with it. You have no option but to feel the rhythm of the universe in the rhythm of your heart as one with the music of your soul. And what I'm knowing in the rising rhythm of gratitude in my heart, after a long week with some time in the belly of the beast, but a grand rising from that belly to the fourth floor, and from the fourth floor to heavens beyond floors. Heavens not of floors, but heavens of faith. it was quite a week. It was quite a week of the wonder of coming to know the mystery and the miracles of my soul. And so we end where we began with Mary Oliver, and I invite you to come from an attitude of gratitude in the knowing that for Ross and for myself, this week brought an attitude of gratitude, of awareness that a lifetime isn't long enough for the beauty of this world. And so ends our talk. So now is a time of prayer, but then in an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of God, and an attitude of goodness, and an attitude of grace. Isn't every time a good time for prayer? Isn't every time a good time for prayer? And so knowing in the goodness of this time we had together and the goodness of the time we have yet to share today, lunch and fellowship and prayer, knowing that this prayer is taking flight on its wings, on the wings of the breath of possibility, on the wings of the breath of the possibility of prayer that brings in all of the potentiality of prayer answered, all the potentiality of prayer made present, all the potentiality of prayer living in us and through us, moving us from ethereal form into evidential form, the form of life on earth. And so isn't this a good time for prayer? Isn't this a good time for the prayer of an attitude of gratitude? Isn't this a good time for a prayer of an attitude of godliness? Isn't this a good time for a prayer of an attitude of oneness? Isn't this a good time for a prayer of the loveliness of life, the way it is? Isn't it a good time for the simplicity of prayer that moves us beyond the complicities and the complexities of this world into the clarity and the consciousness of an attitude of gratitude by which we rise in awareness to a heightened elevation of faith that raises us from the belly of the beast to the fourth floor of a hospital, to the floors beyond the floors of this world, into the faith, the foundation of faith, of worlds beyond worlds, a foundation of faith we share heart to heart, soul to soul, and hand in hand when we reach out and touch somebody's hand, when we reach out and touch somebody's heart with a smile, when we reach out with an attitude of gratitude, of knowing all is well, all the time, because Spirit has imagined it even better. And together I invite us to say, and so it is. Thank you. And if you're watching online, we'd love to have you contribute to our flower. One 420-6909, and you can specify that is for the flower program. And also you can text or donate online at cslbeaumont.org. So if you're an online spiritual community, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to your support, and we're glad you're here and watching us today. And we hope to see you in person soon. Let's see if we can do this in synchronicity. We get it halfway, but let's go all the way.
To the left of
Me, gratitude to the right of me,
gratitude above me,
gratitude below me,
gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And so I'm grateful for the center today. I'm grateful for all of you joining us in community. I'm grateful for the wonderful lunch we have prepared for all of you after service. I'm grateful for the prayers we'll be offering. If you have something heavy on your heart, please stay with one of the practitioners or myself after service. We'll be delighted to pray with you. And now it's time to stand up and do our closing song. And we do that, if you're new to our community, by circling up, holding hands if you're comfortable, and we sing together our closing song. And if you want to remain seated, or just do a namaste or an elbow bump, that's all good. We got to close this circle. Okay. So, as we come to our last breathing out of breath on the last note of that song, I invite us to know that something wonderful happened here at CSL Beaumont today. And that something wonderful was knowing that as we breathe in possibility, we breathe out creativity. We breathe out the creativity of the awareness of gratitude. We breathe out the co-creativity of the awareness of God. And we breathe out the co-creativity of the goodness, of the bounty and the blessings and the joys and the beauty of this life. Even in the midst of the belly of the beast, God is present. God is good. God is everywhere, all the time, always on time, and never late. And together we say, And so it is. Lunch and
Power of now.